Alright guys, this is Tony. Want to make a quick video just for a few minutes just to tell my opinion about all the different mowers, the different style mowers, not necessarily the brands, but I'll tell the brands on a couple of them. But yeah, I just want to at least give you my thoughts because I have done this my whole life. And I like all, just to be clear right at the beginning, I like all mowers basically. There's really not any that I just don't like, except for garden tractors. You do what you gotta do when you first start. But there are obvious reasons why I don't really like those. But I like pretty much most all mowers, and I made some notes to kind of explain my thought on each one. And I'll start the 21, and go all the way up to the King commercial zero turn. So, just bear with me, and you can just add my opinion into your mind. Like on YouTube, if I'm thinking about getting a mower or something, and I watch you guys' videos, I just enjoy thinking what you think. Or telling what you think. Sometimes you'll have a weed or mower or something, and you say, I don't really like how this does, or I like this a lot, or this and that helps me a lot when I buy stuff. So, I just want to do this to hopefully help someone. And so yeah, let's start. 21. 21 mower. This is I won't spend a lot of time in this because a lot of everyone knows about 21 mower. Cheap, light. They don't take up any trailer space. The only problem is it's a lot of walking steps. They're slow. I've had commercial and non-commercial ones. And I do love my commercial exmark 21. I mean, the transmission on that thing is so strong. That thing will pull you, will drag you. And let's do that versus the 30. The 30-inch mower, it's a lot more pricey, of course, but it is less steps, which I love. I have the Toro Turf Master, and I love it. I mean, in the perfect world, it could be a little lighter, but you can't have everything. So I do love it. Honestly, I don't use my 21 very much. Only it's kind of like a backup right now, my 21 for that, because I just use the 30 pretty much on all my push mow yards. And would I buy the Turf Master today, new? If it were me, honestly, I'd probably buy 2 of the residential ones because it's like the same price. So I kind of feel like if I was going to buy a new one, I would do that today, have 2, and that way, hey, if one has to go in the shop, who really cares? You have another one. So, and it's basically the same price. The reason why I have the commercial one is because I got a good deal on it from someone in the area that just didn't like it. So, so 21's great, of course, it's great for starting. Oh, the other thing about the 30 that you don't really think about is it is 30 inches, so think about that on your trailer because, like my Hustler, 21 can fit by it perfect, and 21 can even fit beside 48 on my trailers. But with the 30-inch, it doesn't fit beside anything. So keep that in mind. Has to go in front or behind or whatever. Just because it is 30 inches wide. I mean, you're talking. So the transmission is a problem, I guess, on the 30s, which I have not had any problem on mine yet. But I figure, hey, even if it costs me $200 a year, I still love it. Just because it saves me so much. It saves time and steps because I have a lot of push mow yards. So the 30-inch mower, I love it. I would recommend you guys seriously considering that. So let's move on from those. Another thing, I won't review stuff that I have never driven or spent a lot of time with, basically. So all these that I'll talk about, I have spent hours on. So belt drive walk behinds, which everyone basically knows about them. I had a Toro T-bar, and it was pretty good, because you don't have to squeeze. You just push the thing where you want to go. The squeeze ones aren't bad, but they do tire out your hands. Especially, I remember my dad back in the day had them kind of old-style Ransoms one, which is now like Bobcat. And that thing, man, you cut 1 yard with that thing in your hands. I mean, like because they're like really far apart. So, but the belt drive walk behind. So let's go over my notes for that. Um, it's low maintenance. Okay, I mean they're very heavy duty. They're lightweight. I mean, a belt drive walk behind. I mean, you can basically do anything with that. You can chop up bush clipping. Just whatever you need to do, just do it. I mean, the thing is it. They're pretty bulletproof from my experience. Low maintenance, light. It does cost more energy. So, I mean, belt drives are kind of a pain. You got to wrestle them. They don't back up. They have reverse assist, a lot of them. But in my opinion, that's kind of, I mean, I guess it helps a little, but no. You have to pull those mowers off the trailer, and it's I'm not hating on them, and I may have one sometime in the future, but it's just I have had one in the past, and for right now, it's not my thing. But I do like them. And another thing is they are slower. You can't really 3-point turn. You can't do that. So you end up having to do more. Like on my 0 turns and stuff, I mean, if you do the 3-point turns correctly, I don't even have to do a perimeter swipe, and I won't miss a blade, if you do it correctly. So, my belt drive, let's finish up on that. Low maintenance, light, more energy wasted. The reverse is a problem. They are slower than some of these other ones, but they're very heavy duty. They're low cost money. And yeah, starting out and stuff, I mean, I say I would get those just because I think they're pretty easy to find on Craigslist. But I'll get into what I would really buy if I were starting out here in a minute. A Hydro walk behind, it's good from what I can tell. I've never really owned one or spent time on one. So in the future, I would like to try one and really kind of get a feel for it, because I think they're awesome how you can back up, and they're hydro powered, of course, just like anything hydro powered is the way to go. So, but I'm not sold on them because I just don't think they're as fast, and they're still going to use energy because it's a walk behind. And another thing about all walk behinds, Velkies are just a pain. You have to pick them up. They get all caught up, and when you're trying to back it up, they just get in the way, and you're just more work, more wrestling. So I'm not hating on walk behinds in any way. There are certain times when a walk behind is the best mower to have. Great on hills, like I said, they're low maintenance, and they're usually, if you're starting out, reasonably, easy to find on Craigslist and stuff. And great mower. I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying they're definitely, they're not my favorite. So a stander. So let's go into this because these seem to be real popular these days. I spent about 3 years on one on my dad's route. Kind of through my higher teenage years, and so I probably put 300-400 hours on one, on a John Deere one we had, and it's good. I think one of the things about it that's really good is they are very compact. So I mean, you can put a bunch of them on a trailer, and that is a good thing. But here's something to consider. You're standing up and all that stuff, but they're still just as heavy as a commercial 0 turn, and they still will do just as much damage, in my opinion, as a commercial 0. They're the same thing. They're just different. You're either just sitting on it or you're standing on it. But saves trailer space. It's as heavy as 0 turn, and you're still standing up. Another big problem of mine, which I think some of the newer scag ones and the exmark ones that I've kind of messed with, just like staying on the dealers and stuff, they seem to do a little bit better job with the platform and stuff. Which ours was spring loaded, so it wasn't as much the platform, but something on all the standards, you had the tendency to kind of lean forward a little bit onto the little pad, which you say, that's great. Why is that a problem? Well, the problem with me is, few years in of using it every day, and about 3 years into it, my knees started to give me some trouble because think about this: when your body is leaning forward on the little thing, it kind of locks your knees, or it kind of makes you like want to lock your knees. So, and obviously everyone, knows that, if your knees are locked all the time when you're mowing stuff, it's not that good. So, I'm not hating on the Sanders. I mean, I like them and I may have one in the future. But for me right now, because remember, just keep my opinions in mind. And, I'm not expecting you to, everyone has their own flavor of how they want to do things, but just keep things in mind. Just like I listen to everyone else's opinion. In my opinion, overall, I'm not that sold on the Standers personally, and just because there's heavy commercial zero turn, you're still standing up. It makes you kind of want to lock your knees. And being a one man, a solo thing most of the time. And when I worked for my dad, because I work for him part of the week, he has a 20-foot trailer. So I mean, the space really isn't that big of a deal for us. So we run zero turns with him. But and then let's go into my two favorite topics. Oh, but one last positive on the Stander. Okay, so Stander, yes, it's just like a zero turn. The good thing is it's just as productive as a zero turn. But let's say if you have workers, if you have people working for you, the Stander can be very efficient because just as fast as a zero turn, but they would have a tendency because you're riding stuff to kind of play on the zero turns. And the Stander, you're still standing up, but it's highly productive, which they still could play on there. I mean, they're kind of thing, but maybe a little less tendency. So, like, if you have a big company or something, you have workers, I would say Standers are probably a good idea because, you can put a lot on the trailer, they're very fast, efficient, and they may play on them less. But for a solo guy like me, again, I'm not sold on the Stander for my opinion. But here's this. All right, then let's go into my two favorite mowers, and we'll be done. We're kind of going up. So, a residential zero turn. These are obviously very popular and across everywhere in the last few years. I don't remember them really having them when I was younger, and if they did, they were extremely kind of crappy. But they really picked up popularity. As y'all know, I have the Hustle Raptor. It's a great mower. Anyway, and my dad's even one of his biggest mower went down, and so he actually went and bought there was someone that had on Craigslist another Raptor Super Duty that with like no use on it, and I think he went and bought it. I'll make a video about that for y'all later. Anyway, back to topic. Residential zero turn. They're cheap, which is a great thing, inexpensive. If I was starting a lawn company right now, if I had nothing, no equipment, residential zero turn would be the first mower I buy. Why? Because 3,000, 2,500, 3,000, you can get one, and brand new, and just a great thing. They're versatile, and one of the things, they're cheap. They're a rider, but they're very light. Any piece of equipment you buy, whether it be a backpack blower, mower, whatever, consider the weight, okay? Because it will matter. It matters when you're pulling it. It matters on the customer's turf. Because I have a lot of high-end stuff, and so my residential zero turn is one of my favorite pieces of equipment. My Raptor is somewhere around 500 pounds, maybe a little more, but it's around there. My 42, and that thing is awesome. Anytime when you would need a walk behind because you don't want to use a rider, boom, you can use this Raptor. I mean, even the engine, the engine part, I can pick it up. I mean, so the thing is awesome. It just floats. So the residential rider, the Raptor, now this over the last 1 or 2 years is now my walk behind. That's now what I consider my walk behind. They're just great. Solo user, and mine's been very durable. The downside to those is they're less durable than obviously, as y'all know, than any commercial products. And if you have workers, I wouldn't do the residential zero turn thing if you have employees, just because they would get tore up. Just my opinion, but So take that into consideration. But a solo guy like me, for my walk behind jobs, boom, Raptor comes out, kicks it. And, a lot of and because of a solo guy like me, and I have a ton of accounts, so I'm doing every single thing myself. I'm picking up pine cones, I'm pulling weeds, I'm edging, I'm blowing, I'm trimming bushes, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. Things that I gotta do. So, this little zero turn is great. So, do I like residential zero turns? Would I recommend them? Absolutely. Whether you're mainly if you're a solo guy, though. If you're starting out solo, it's great. Even if you're down the road solo, kind of like me, I guess. Not that I'm like amazing or anything, but down a little farther, I recommend them. Because you can use them in a place and walk behind as a walk behind. Let's read my notes on that. Residential rider, it's cheap. Like I said, it's a rider, so it's a plus. It's light. The quality cut has been great on mine. The 3-point turns, like I was telling you earlier, you can really, the zero turn idea that any mower can do a zero turn, is revolutionary when they made that. I'm not talking about sitting down or standing up. I'm talking about the standers or any mower that can zero turn is just revolutionary, obviously. Let's see. Yeah, and the reason why I decided to get a residential zero turn is because I had sold my walk behind and bought that Yazoo that y'all seen in the movie with the pictures. But then I got to the point where I started picking up a lot of counts and I needed a walk behind again for some yards. So I, did my price searching and stuff, and I'm like, man, do I really want to, get another walk behind? And then the one I was going to get, it was fixed deck, and so I'm like, so for less money than that, I got this little zero turn, and it's floating deck and all that, and it's been great. It's been one of my best decisions ever to get the residential zero turn. So let's move on from that. Last topic. Obviously, the king zero turns, which are any of the commercial zero turns, are just, they're super fast. But you got to be careful with your turf. That's the only thing. They're super fast. They're super heavy though, and they can do some damage. Obviously, even just just from your regular use. If the yard is moist, if they keep it well irrigated and stuff, you can run into some problems with that. They're bulky. They take up a lot of room on the trailer, obviously. But they're very smooth. They're long lasting. So I mean, they're just very heavy duty, and crap gets done with those. Like it's awesome. So, I think it'd be a good thing for everyone to have, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I like mine, but they are what they are, but they're great. But like I said, I can only use it on like 40% of my yards, or maybe even a little less than that. Some are push mow yards, some have to do Raptor. So it's probably 40% that I can use the commercial zero turn on, maybe even a couple less. So so you guys know. So it's kind of just I don't know. Eventually, I may get a Raptor Super Duty. If these been real good for my dad, and just run that. I don't know. But for now, I'm kind of sticking. I do love my Ferris and commercial, and I love that it's smooth and saves me a lot of time, on the appropriate yards. So, and I like today, I took my big trail, my big trailer 16 foot. I used that, and my other one. I kind of switched back and forth, just kind of whatever I'm feeling that week or whatever. But yeah, it saves me time on a couple of yards where I was able to use it, but it's been raining today, so a few yards I had to use the Raptor. So if you have both of those, I mean you're pretty set, that and push more 30, whatever. Anyway, so the King Zero Turn, I mean, there's just so many good things about it. You can mulch up stuff. I mean, you can, your possibilities are, you can do anything with them pretty much. Like I said, though, they're a little less good on hills. They tear up the grass. Sometimes the traction's not the best, that kind of thing. And some people are like, oh, I don't like zero turns because it makes me feel lazy or whatever. And I think about that, and I think, well, you mustn't, I say, if that's, how people are, how you are, well, if you feel lazy still, why don't you just consider adding more accounts, Add more accounts till, keep adding more yards until you don't feel lazy or whatever, because, I mean, you know, it's not like, like I'm better if I use a walk behind or something, because, these residential riders, and, if you have the different ones, you can do, in my opinion, and I'm doing this every day, and I've had a lot of different mowers, you can do just as good a work with a zero turn as a walk behind. As long as you have the appropriate one for what you're doing. I mean, they're great. So there's my thoughts. I like zero turns. I like the residential and the commercial. I'm really impressed by the residential, I'll tell you that, just by the Hustler this year and last year. And the 30-inch mower, that was a game changer for me when I got that. Because I noticed on some of my bigger yards where I have to push mow, I'm saving like 20 minutes, like, on that 1 yard, like, because I clocked it. I'm like, man, like, it's impressive. So, y'all consider all this stuff. And I enjoy getting y'all's thoughts as well. So, hope y'all are having a great day. I just thought I'd make this video. I hope it just helps, even if it just helps one or two people, just to, add that thought into their library of thoughts of their next mowers. If it just helps someone a little, that's great. That's all I'm doing this for. I'm not doing it for, money or try to be cool or anything like that. So, hope you are having a great night. And this is Tony's Lawn Care. And we'll talk to you later.